for Netflix, I come in, I describe what kind of story I want to watch. Maybe generates only one episode for you, and if you like that episode, it generates more episodes. And and if you like it enough, maybe maybe the algorithm shares it back with me because it knows we know each other.
How do you see all of this stuff sort of colliding in these new virtual worlds where space is interesting? Like brands, how do they come to life in this space? Now you've got, in theory, instead of me having a brand store, I can walk into a store and it can be the Nike store made for Ross Drakes,
Yeah.
because they know my preference and they know kind of what I like.
Putting aside the hardware limitations, which are a big hurdle, I think, for mass adoption, right? Because we're talking about comfort, we're talking about price, we're talking about aesthetics. So let's put that aside because it's a whole other kind of conversation. But talking about the experience side, I think two big struggles. One is it takes quite a lot of energy to build any given like kind of immersive world. It's There's a lot of optimizations that go into it, and it can be it's not very cost effective to go and build lots of them. And there's already tons of research papers and early prototypes of how you could generate 3D just from text straight to 3D, right? There's some models that do go text to image to 3D, but there's some already that go straight to 3D. And it's very, very, very far away from the quality that you might be getting with Midjourney or DALL-E or anything else. But like everything else, the speed in which it improves is quite quick. I could imagine a world in which you start a game, and maybe that game is super open-ended, right? I maybe back to the point of comparing games to brands now for a second. In the case of a generative brand expression, all you might hold back is the shape. I want the Nike swoosh, and that swoosh cannot change angle, cannot be skinnier or bolder. It's going to remain the same shape, but you can express it in lots of different ways within this one constraint, right? Like maybe if I'm shepherding the brand of Nike, I'm going to create this really big open world, but it can't go to certain directions, right? Maybe you won't have like, let's say, nudity associated with the swoosh, right? But there's a lot that you can do within a certain space. In the case of a game, maybe all you start with is, let's say, a character and maybe a general mission. Hey, this character is a space traveler, and their objective is to do, I don't know, like harvest minerals from other planets or discover new life forms, right? But you might really enjoy, let's say, underwater worlds or whatever it is that you are going to enjoy. Or you want it to be multiplayer, or you want it to be a single player, right? You want it to be side scrolling, or you want it to be this immersive thing. And the list goes on and on and on about both aesthetics and functionality. And so maybe at the beginning of that game, you can tell it what it is that you want, and it creates the thing for you. For Netflix, I come in, I describe what kind of story I want to watch. Maybe generates only one episode for you, and if you like that episode, it generates more episodes. And if you like it enough, maybe maybe the algorithm shares it back with me because it knows we know each other and we like similar things, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, you have these generative kind of TV and movies.
It'll be interesting to see how people inside these companies are taught and enabled by creatives and designers like us to think about the control of this asset that represents a massive legal entity, a corporation, in a new way. Because it's one thing to set the tool up to create that and to generate it for people, but it's another one for the organization to almost embrace that and appreciate it. I think that's going to be a different journey altogether.